venture investor friends for a panel. Now, usually we'd be doing this in person. It's a happy hour. It's Friday, so everybody have a drink. We usually do this in person, but because of our inability to travel and safety concerns, we want to keep you guys safe. We do not want to infect you because that's the thing. You never want to infect your VC, right? They won't give you any more money if you give them COVID. So we're all coming together online and very happy. I'm gonna let our esteemed panelists introduce themselves. We're gonna start with Pian. We used to work together, or we used to work in the same firm. Pian, why don't you please introduce yourself? Where are you now? What are you focused on in terms of the investment side? And one fun fact about yourself.
One fun fact about myself. Okay. Anyway, thanks for having me here. It's good to see you. It's been a while since we last caught up, so I hope you're well. I am Puyen. Hi, everyone. I'm currently with Vertex Ventures Southeast Asia. So Vertex Ventures is Southeast Asia is into its fourth fund now. They just announced the latest fund, Fund 4, last year, and they were expanding teams. So I came on as part of the effort to have better coverage. I focus on Series A opportunities around Southeast Asia and India, right? So, and there's no sector bias. We can talk about that a little bit later on. I was previously from Singtel Innovate. That's how William and I sort of knew each other. So ask me anything about Vertex. I may not have the answer, but you can also ask me again 1 year, 6 months later, and I may give you a different answer. So thanks for having me. Oh, one fun fact about myself. Yep. I was actually not born in Singapore, though I have lived here all my life. I was born in Hong Kong, and I moved here when I was really young. So that's one fun fact. Yep.
Okay. So in the Vertex world, Pian's a hunter killer. Which is your best friend as a startup, because she's actually out there looking for their next big winners. So thanks for joining. Hopefully I'm not butchering your name. And Anamoy, please introduce yourself.
Hey, and thank you.
Fun fact about yourself.
Yo, thanks, William. So guys, you know, I have a name that's even by Indian standards a little unpronounceable. And so, you know, pretty much everybody calls me Roy. So feel free to call me Roy. That works very well. I've been Roy since I was 8 years old. I don't know if that qualifies as a fun fact, but in any case, so I've been at Sequoia Capital now for about 8 years. And for the last 2 years, I've been working on launching Surge, which is our early stage acceleration / founder academy type product, you know, for early stage startups in India and Southeast Asia. My personal investment focuses very much on the developer tool, deep tech, enterprise SaaS side of things, and also a little bit of educational technology. But Sequoia Capital is a diversified fund. You know, we have a sort of a funding vehicle for you for pretty much every stage of your company's life, starting from, you know, when you have an idea and a slide deck maybe, you know, which is when the seed, search product, to Series A, to B, C, D, IPO, post-IPO. You know, we have growth funds. We have a growth fund in India and Southeast Asia that's dedicated to growth opportunities where we can sign very large checks. You know, going up all the way to what a global growth fund where we can sign, you know, $100, $200 million checks if that's what you need. And like I said, IPO and beyond, right? And so, you know, Sequoia's sort of, you know, ethos starting from the Bay Area in the early 70s, which is something that we've been trying to carry through this area, is to find and back, you know, legendary founders. And, you know, what we really like so far about Southeast Asia and India is that, you know, we found a lot of those people here. And when we do, we try our best to sort of back them and work with them. And, you know, and that's really been sort of the interesting thing. The other fun fact, which you may or may not know, that while there are a lot of bald, bearded men here, I actually hold the patent for that look, and everybody else is in violation. I'll collect my fees later. But, you know, VC always gets paid, right? So anyways, sorry, with that, back to you, William.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. So, I mean, we're all friends here. Most people think that the VCs are all trying to kill each other. But we're looking forward to one of our companies, MakeBlock. So they were Hacks, Hardware Accelerator, SOSV, Hardware Accelerator Batch 1. super proud to have Sequoia do the Series B, and they're getting ready for their IPO. So it's one of the first new hardware companies to get ready for a China IPO. Awesome partners. So Nitesh, you're up next. Take it away.
Sure. Thanks, William. Thanks for inviting me, having me over here. So guys, hi, I'm Mitesh Shah. I'm co-founder Inflection Point Venture. Inflection Point Venture, is one of India's largest angel investment platform with 2,500 plus members and growing. It's probably the only community where investors are mostly CXOs. So our focus is not on helping startups with providing dumb capital. Idea is to help them with smart capital, where beyond capital also a startup entrepreneur somewhere at the top is alone, and he needs something more than only plain simple mentoring. Idea is to get him connected to all the top corporate CXOs who can be his clients, vendors, strategic partners, next round investors, and thereby opening up many doors for him when he has to do business. So with this approach, we started almost 2 years ago, and happy to say that we are already one of the largest in terms of numbers, and have done almost 40 investments. Keep adding almost 3 investments every month out of around 120 startups that we meet on a monthly basis. So that's what the ethos of the platform is, and me along with my co-founder wish to maintain that. Fun fact, William, while I'm being called on this VC panel, personally have done about 40 plus investment. 10 of them have failed, and the one that have failed is where I've done my maximum research, where I've gone along with the market study, competition, proper marking, scoring and all. 30, what I've been done with instinct, they're doing really, really well.
Awesome, wonderful. And Naman, so we're going to jump right into the panel, yeah?
No, William, let's do a little quick detour. We'll do a quick hi from our Type A office. Jenny?
Yeah.
Okay, we're a little bit dark like watching a movie theater because you guys are shining really bright in front of us. So guys, can you
Okay, I can't really hear you.
Okay. Back to you, Naaman.
All right, Jenny, thank you so much for that. All right, so before we actually jump into the panel, folks, we're going to do a quick round of pitches of our MOX 9 cohort. I'm just sharing in the chat the lineup, and just a quick round of pitches. Give me a moment.
Yeah, so we're in the back.
Yeah.
And we're going to introduce our 7 amazing companies in 1 minute or less.
Yep.
So for your patient.
Hopefully
Now
less. Yep. Price Oil, let's start with you guys.
Hello, everyone. One of the biggest problems with shopping online in Pakistan is counterfeit products. Fake products are the sad reality for 210 million Pakistanis. We are Price Oil. We help Pakistani consumer buy certified products online at low prices. We are Pakistan's second largest e-commerce player with a similar business model to JD.com of China. We have 2 million monthly active users and are growing 38% month on month. Would love to sit down next week for a 30-minute session and introduce you to the fast-growing Pakistani market. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adnan. Token?
There are 30 million local businesses in India, and they are in danger. 30% of local businesses shut down within 2 years of opening. Major reasons: not able to drive enough customers, and retailers like Amazon are taking away their business. We are Token. We help local businesses come together on a community discovery platform, promote each other, and drive more new customers with the power of a gift card. Since our launch 9 months back, our local partners have driven 100,000 new customers to each other. Let's speak more.
Mobi Garage?
In India, in the next 5 years, more than 500 million people will get the internet for the very first time. They will connect to the internet through low-cost, second-hand, refurbished smartphones. We are Mobi Garage. We are disrupting the $40 billion smartphone market by organizing the second-hand mobile supply chain through AI and selling refurbished smartphones with certified components and warranty that are 70% cheaper than new smartphones. We are the Xiaomi of refurbished phones. We are catering to 20,000 phones a month, growing 15% month on month. Flipkart recently signed an exclusive strategic partnership with us. We're looking to raise a $1.5 million to fuel our growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vaibhav. Next, we have GT from SuperPro.
Thanks, Aman. More than 25 million professionals globally are trying to sell their services online. COVID-19 is pushing this number further. We are SuperPro, the future of work for professionals. We help them sell and deliver their services online using video and AI tools. We automate the repetitive tasks and give them control of their data. We have signed up India's largest analytics community with 500,000 professionals. I filed 30 plus US patents in AI and have raised $35 million in my last startup. We are raising 500K USD in seed. You have a 15-minute slot now or next week, I can tell you more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, GT. Next, we have Wani.
Thanks, Naman. Every year, India reports maximum number of car accidents. One of the biggest killers in India is not the COVID, but a car accident, and many of them has been reported due to the usage of mobile phones. To overcome this issue, we have created Vani, which is an Android app and allow its users to control their incoming calls through voice commands, and that too in their local dialect. So driver can keep their eyes on the roads, not on the telephone screens. Just simply say hello to pick the call and no to decline the call, and many more. Within 2 weeks of launch, Vani was trending on #1 on Google Play Store. Without anything on spending on marketing, we got more than 2.6 million installs. And if this excites you, we will be grateful if we can set up meeting this week to explore possible synergies. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jatin. And Sid?
In Indonesia, hiring blue-collar workers like delivery riders, warehouse staff, and waiters is very hard. Companies get thousands of applications, people don't show up for interviews, and a CV is useless if you're trying to staff a warehouse, and turnover is extremely high. In the new normal, companies do not want to hire employees full-time. They want flexibility. We are MyRobin. We provide on-demand, pre-screened, full-time, flexible workforce in 24 hours. We are changing lives of 100 million workers in Indonesia with benefits like payday loans and access to practical trainings that boost retention. We already have 1.4 million workers in our community, growing at 20% quarterly, and a revenue of $60,000, growing at 20% monthly. We are raising $1 million to support the growing demand during COVID. Let's set a time this week or next to discuss more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sid. William, I'm going to kick it back to you to kick off the panel. The audience, please feel free to put in any in the Q&A. We're going to have a Q&A session after the panel, and we will take up all your questions. William, over to you.
Awesome, wonderful. So thanks so much for the startups for giving the brief introductions. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to them. VC panels are usually pretty boring, right? We're not actually paid to be interesting, but it's Friday night. It's at least in Singapore time, it's happy hour. So we're going to try and mix it up a little bit and ask the panelists what over the last 6-12 months has really changed. Now, you could say COVID happened, new normal. If somebody tells me that we're in a new normal again, I'm gonna lose it. Okay, but in terms of actual effects, I'd just like to go around across the panel. What is one or two changes that you think will happen, trends, whether it be because of COVID or because we have a ton of new unicorns out or because there's money falling from the sky in Southeast Asia? What is one of the biggest trends that you've seen it emerge over the last 6 to 12 months? So we're gonna kick it off with Mitesh. How about you?
Sure, and I think thanks for this question. Something very interesting emerging here in India, at least, is that while Probably demand is sluggish because of COVID and all. We have our stock markets, which are almost at all-time high. We have gold, which is at almost all-time high. We have silver, which is almost at all-time high. The bank fund mobilization in terms of FD and all is rocketing. Bank Nifty is skyrocketing, and startup investments are also blossoming. What this says that there's so much of liquidity chasing some good assets that it's driving the prices up, right? And so there is so much of liquidity today at early stage investment as well, that we as angels and we as platforms are not only looking at early stage investment. It has practically reached a stage where we are driving, pre-series Bs and series Bs as well as pre-series Cs as well. We invested in business Milk Basket 3 months ago, and we practically led the series B for them, which is the first of its kind for an angel investment platform in India. While sectors have been growing, and for Milk Basket also with COVID, it was no different. But something very interesting emerging, that lot of players are actually coming to platforms for the funding requirement, because turnaround time is faster. As I said, it's smart capital. You get a lot of support and all. While VCs, are looking at ideas, but I think the process takes a little longer time. So that's what I think we are seeing, that lot even mature companies are now not averse to taking funding from angel investment platform, because they clearly see a lot of value lying over there. So that's what we are harping on. While certain sectors are clear-cut winners, like edutech, no price for guessing, edutech and gaming and online grocery delivery and all, I think fundamental-wise, even consumer brands are still sustaining, right? SaaS, enterprise tech still remains the flavor of the day and all. So it's a pretty good all-round development and growth which is happening. And we, at the pinnacle of that, we are really happy with the way these things are moving.
So Roy, I mean, the existence of Surge in and of itself, you have a company that writes $200 million checks. Actually, that's new. You guys used to be more like $100 million, $50 million, $10 million. Now you're running, on the one side, you're doing $200 million checks, and the other side, you're doing $1 to $2 million checks. What for you over the last 6 to 12 months, 8 years in Sequoia, but now leading Surge, is different?
So that's a good question. I think a couple of things. Firstly, we started investing in Southeast Asia in like 2013. And, our first few investments in this space, like the Tokopedias and the Gojeks of the world, have gone on to sort of become, really large, sort of interesting companies. And I think our enthusiasm and our engagement with Southeast Asia just increases with every sort of passing year. When we launched Surge, we had anticipated that we'd have some participation from Southeast Asia. But what was really interesting for us in the last batch was that it was actually half and half. We had about half our startups from India and half from Southeast Asia. And I think in this part of the world, there have always been ideas, but it's been hard for people to execute because of the lack of support on other fronts, like technology and product and organizational design and things of that nature. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do at Surge, which is Surge is not just easy access, or I shouldn't say easy, but fast access to capital at terms that are often that are closer to the valley and less perhaps onerous, as we've seen in the past in this part of the world, but also surrounding our new startup founders who get to Surge with the folks who came before, so they can learn and learn from the best, right? So one of the things that we do at Surge is make sure that folks get to meet and interact with the founders of Gojek and the founders of Tokopedia and the founders of Baiju and the founders of Unacademy and the founders of MPL. So the folks who were in their shoes less than a decade ago, who are now running these decacorn unicorn companies. I don't know if you heard this, William, but a lot of people are talking about how this is now the new normal. So I wanted to bring up that as well, which is the COVID being the new normal thing. Sorry, William's is not taking the bait on that one. Anyways, the point is that while I think COVID's interesting and it's accelerating a whole set of things, in our view, that had already started, right? This part of the world, the startups, the ability to bring technology to solve problems that that seemed sort of intractable even a decade ago, bringing the new flavor of sort of, education technology and transportation and food delivery and what have you in this part of the world is very exciting. And, at least our view is that the next 10 years in Southeast Asia are going to be a lot more interesting than the last 10 were. So we are very excited to be here. We are very excited to be working with, all of you who are starting these companies. It's the best part of our job is to interact with the early startups. And the only last thing I'll sort of say to everyone is, never too early to talk to Sequoia. I know that for whatever reason, people have felt that, we can be, it's a little hard, or you should go to Sequoia when you're ready. And, we just did a term sheet last week with a couple of folks who were sort of in the process of like winding up their previous commitments. So they hadn't even started a company yet. And, never too early to talk to us. We are here to work with the best founders, and we are here to surround you with the best company building help that you can get to help you build, the true enduring companies of the next decade faster than it's ever happened before. So that's what we are.
They're just everybody's afraid of those giant trees behind you, like the forest.
It's a background. I can change it to something else. No issues at all.
So Puyan, I mean, you're now multi-strategy. You get to look at everything and everyone. And you've been around the block now a few times. So what has changed over the last 6 to 12 months? What is a theme or a trend that you're really drilling down into and super excited about?
Yeah, so thanks for that. I think what hasn't changed, to your point, is that there's still a lot of capacity to deploy, right? So, I mean, year on year, I think many funds are still raising, and we have a record year every year in Southeast Asia for the best, the most amount of money raised by startups. So I think that hasn't changed. Maybe there are two areas I would like to maybe touch on in terms of what jumps out at me. I think one is the market, right? So traditionally in Southeast Asia is so fragmented. So and not every single market is different. People tend to crowd around Singapore because it's sort of easy access to capital. It's it's safe. You can do a lot of POC here, and then you scale out. People tend to love Indonesia as well, right? So because it's a big market, it's no-brainer. It's easy to scale. But what we have observed is that investors and the startup community have started to definitely take notice of the other markets in the region, right? So we are talking about Malaysia, Philippines, and of course Vietnam. So in the Vertex portfolio, we have a Thai-based portfolio called Sunday. It's an insurtech, full stack insurtech company. They're doing very well. So that's an example of how we have sort of gone away from the usual suspects around Southeast Asia, and we'll continue to look for more opportunities across different markets. I think the second trend is back in the day, people used to say that Southeast Asia startup are copycats of Chinese or US company, and B, maybe purely consumer internet, right? But I also noticed that the B2C segment obviously remains strong. FinTech, of course, remains strong, but the B2B segment seems to be bubbling up quite nicely, and there's more appetite from both startup founders and investors to take more attention, right? So in the Vertex Southeast Asia portfolio, there's a company called Cetak. It's a mouthful, but what they do is they provide managed services for the packing industry. So they're purely targeting at the businesses. So this is, I think this is something very interesting. Is no longer just, how you can optimize your CAC versus your LTV, whatever it is. This is something more nuanced. You have to really take care of the different verticals and different customer segment. I think this is quite interesting. Yeah.
So when I was doing tech investment in the US in 1998, 99, 2000, we always used to say, all of our money is the same color, it's green. Now that's not exactly true for all of you. You've got red money and blue money and purple money, and there's some green money in there. But we'll start with you, Puyan. What is one reason why the next amazing startup to come out is going to take your money? And we'll go around the block here.
I'll start.
Okay, go.
Sorry, go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go. I think the benefit of being in the Vertex platform, part of the Vertex family, is that actually Vertex is a platform of many funds, right? So we have a fund in Southeast Asia and India, we have a fund in Israel, we have a fund in China, we even have a healthcare fund, we have a fund in US, and we have a growth fund. So within the whole ecosystem, there are actually many subject matter experts. There's a lot of institutional memories. There is a trusted network of founders who are not afraid to share ideas. So that I think is super valuable. If you are in a particular genre, we can always tap onto our colleagues in maybe the US market or the Israel market and say, or the Chinese market and say, have you seen something like this? And we shortcut the learning process very quickly, right? And I think the other thing to think about is that, but this is not unique to Vertex, I have to say, but we have the capacity to really follow through, because there is also a Vertex Growth Fund, which participate from Series BCD and above. So we can really stay together with the company all the way through until the exit. So maybe the last little nugget here is that Vertex is affiliated to, of course, has affiliation to Temasek, which is a Singapore sovereign fund. So there are actually many, many, many interesting introduction that we can potentially make, in around the region. So same pitch as Roy. If you are, looking for funding, please also consider us. Thank you.
Okay, so Mitesh, you're up.
Thanks. So I think one of the point is I was so eager. So that's one of the point that startups actually come to us first. We are always eager to fund a good startup first, right? So yeah, but on a serious note, I think it's about identifying the right opportunities early stage, and I think that's where we kind of say that we go really deep, we go really wide, meet a lot of founders, look at a lot of opportunities, and zero down some of them. And it need not necessarily be an IIT or IIM guy. We are not really fussed about the founder background, whether he's first timer, whether he is a proven track record and all. If as long as the idea is good, our philosophy is invest in good founders, great founders rather, at great valuation, and do it quickly. I think it's the turnaround time which really matters. We have, with due respect to the other early stage investors, micro VCs platforms, in India and around the world. I think it's important that founder is not taken for granted. It's very important that founder is treated with due respect. There is complete transparency in the processes. And like I said earlier, it has to be something more than capital. We're helping them with real business connect and real growth opportunity. So that's what I think we kind of have built in our processes and business model, which help us get some good deals. William, we have done 2-3 deals together. We have identified, guys like, I may say names now because the public, guys like Fable and Torch, so early Torch into AI meta tagging and Fable into health tech space. And they are the great founders. They are taking it along. We have done some great stuff in gaming as well. So I think this is the secret sauce for us in terms of working with the founder, identifying them young and nurturing them.
Cool. So Roy, we all know like Sequoia is the big wood in the forest. But if you could just talk about Surge, and then let's try and keep it to one reason, or not 11, but one, why people should look at Surge.
I think the main reason is that when you're thinking about building a company, I think the important thing to keep in mind is that the relationship is not a 1 year, 2 year, get me some money to get started type of relationship. You should be thinking about sort of what it takes to build an enduring company, and if that's what you want to do, then actually Surge is a great fit, right? I'll freely admit we're not the best VC if what you're looking for is a quick 12-month, 24-month, I'm out of here type of deal. But if what you want to do is build something large, build something enduring, I mean, the rate of increase of company size in the last 10 years is only accelerated, right? We have, there are several companies now in the portfolio that are $10+ billion and, no signs of slowing down. And, we suspect that rate will only increase. And, if you want to be able to tap the institutional knowledge that comes with building companies like that, and having seen many such companies like that, then Surge is actually a great choice. It's not just about capital, which I think we all agree on the panel, is that the capital is actually perhaps the most commodity part of it all. What's interesting is the network. We have people who work at Sequoia whose only job it is to help you build tech, to help you build a marketing plan, to help you recruit, 30 engineers. There are folks who join Surge who basically basically hired 35, 40 engineers just through our introductions. In many cases through a pre-curated list, so they didn't have to interview them; they could just hire them. We have a lot of sort of support around the table to help you be the best founder that you have the potential to be.
Yeah, cool. So the funny thing about VCs is that they always want to follow their advice and to answer the question up front and follow directions, but they're just like you. When you ask them to give you one reason why you should work with them, they always give you 10. So thanks for
you should pick the one that matters to you the most.
William is really in Friday evening mode today.
Yeah.
Come on, it's a happy hour. So okay, so we've been back in the office here in Shanghai for like since mid-March. I mean, the office opened, but we didn't really want to come here for the first couple of weeks. We got a little bit lucky. Our Taiwan office, we did the work from home thing, but people could go in the office if they wanted to. But most of the world is in a bit of a shitstorm, right? And then on top of that, from shitstorm comes economic apocalypse, or at least that's what I wrote the other day. We're in a recession. It's going to be pretty bad. But since it's Friday happy hour, what we want to do is come up with one or two, or in Roy's case, like maybe 10 reasons why COVID's a good thing. Okay, well, maybe not a good thing, but how can we as entrepreneurs and investors, take an extremely horrible situation in which many people are dying and getting sick and getting conditions that will haunt them the rest of their lives. But where can we have a positive impact here? So I'm gonna kick it off with Roy, and if you can have more than one positive impact, go for it. So unlimited positive impacts.
No, I mean, I think that it's a pretty horrible thing, and I think we are sort of all at this point reeling under it. But I think the really interesting thing of something like this is that it acts like a bit of a tractor beam, right? And it sucks in, it accelerates a whole bunch of scientific endeavor that is going to sort of help us get over this. And I think the reason we get out of this is because science and technology will hopefully come together to sort of provide a solution, be it drug therapies or vaccines or some combination of that will sort of will then have lots of downstream ramifications, right? That's always been the case with tech. You solve one problem, but then that tech helps you solve many more problems. And so I think while it feels a little dark right now, I think the response of our scientific and engineering communities will be magnificent and will result in, I think, a significant improvement in quality of life in the next decade or so. So I'm actually quite hopeful about what happens sort of post-COVID. In a more narrow lens for startups themselves, I think the acceleration in digital and in sort of remote working technologies and a renewed focus on mental health, a renewed focus on being healthy to be able to sort of deal with stuff like this, I think is also very important and very useful. And so I think that I actually think there's many things that will emerge from this period that will be sort of interesting. If history is any guide, the Spanish flu was followed by the Roaring '20s, and I for one cannot wait for that party to start.
Yeah, well, that's why we're all here online. Poyan,
yeah. So I think.
I mean, you're doing a lot out there. I'm sure you're up to your ankles or waist in portfolio companies trying to help out. What do you think is I wouldn't say a benefit, but a positive or something that might help the world?
Maybe I'll start off with how it actually has changed the way I approach startup pitches, and I think I'm not the only one. Now there's nothing nothing normal anymore. Whether it's new normal or old normal, you can't really take anything for granted. And so if, typically it's quite easy to become cynical as a VC because you hear pitch day in, day out, and you go, yeah, I have heard this 10 times, 20 times, it's not going to work. The founder doesn't know what he's talking about. But now I actually challenge myself to be a bit more curious even than before. Like, are you sure? Are you sure? Did I miss something, or this is really a possibility? And I try to be even more imaginative and creative and see what the possibilities are. I think that's something that I see has happened to myself, since different from definitely 1 year ago. And the other thing, maybe outside of the tech, outside of the tools that we think could be useful in the new normal. I'm sorry, William. I think one thing that is interesting is how we deal with people, right? Like previously, people get together, they find an excuse, go for a drinking session, chit chat, but you kind of do that and then kind of walk away and forget. But now we are kind of all like, okay, we're all healthy and good. We feel thankful. And I feel that there is more desire to find different ways to stay connected, right? How do you establish common level understanding remotely, right? How do you actually really listen and respond properly? I feel that a bit better actually now, and I appreciate that within the startup community and also outside, just also my social circle. So I think that's the other thing. But the last thing, maybe food for thought, right? Like I was just having a debate recently with someone, not really a debate, we're just talking about it, right? Like, a lot of companies say that they're AI driven. So maybe this is also an open question to all. And we ask, can AI handle a market downturn? Can AI handle a black swan event? And the answer is probably not, right? Because a lot of data that were collected in the last few years, when the technology has matured, is sort of on good data. So AI hasn't seen the market crashing. So actually, it's a real opportunity for companies to figure out how they can differentiate, because now everybody sort of have to start again to figure out the consumer behavior. And I think that's interesting to see. So that's my 3 observations.
Awesome. So SOS, we started the first accelerator in Asia 10 years ago. And to celebrate that, we created 10-year anniversary. I don't have one here with me, shot glasses. And thank you so much for your contribution, because whenever anybody said the word normal, my entire team had to use one of those shot glasses on this Friday night and do it. So they're pretty comprehensible right now, and that's amazing. And sorry, I just had to set you up there. So Mitesh, your turn.
Yeah, William, with your permission, I'll try and take a go at about 2 developments here. So first, and I wear my, I'll not use the word normal. I assure you. So, and I think first and the most important, I wear my CFO hat over there. I've been, I've done various CFO stints, including Ola and Book My Show. I think this time has taught a lot of founders the real value of money. While all may say that capital is important and all, but somewhere, I think pre-COVID, everywhere were just like thinking that the supply of capital is infinite, and you can probably get away with murder. You can have as many costs as you want. Growth is most important. I think this time has taught founders to be efficient with their cost expansion. They've realized that it's very easy to expand cost. It's very, very difficult to cut it down, right? So when you have to roll it back, that's where the actual tests are. So I think as a CFO, I'm really, really kind of sorry for the pervert expression, but I'm glad with this development. While obviously on the health front and everything, we are equally worried as all of us are. But this is something which is kind of going to teach some very important lessons to today's founders, the young boys, who really need to value capital and money and the efficiency of it. That also, for me as a VC or as an investor, kind of helped me separate men from boys. There are guys who have completely been clueless in this pandemic period, saying what to do. There is nothing that I can do. 6 months, there has been no revenue. I'm only cutting costs. While others have figured out ways to kind of make it an opportunity, turn this into an opportunity, capitalize on this, and their business have moved forward. So this is something where you can actually identify good founders and invest into them. Last but not the least, in India, we have 500 million plus internet subscribers, but we have 300 million plus smartphone penetration. The actual digital users are only about 100 million. Now, this pandemic probably has pushed a lot of people to transact online, to convert them into digital users. And that, I think the entire economy will reap the rewards right now when a lot of the digital tech-enabled startups will be able to make use of that. So I guess these are some of the important positive takeaway from this situation.
Awesome. So we've always been really good at doing happy hours at SOSV and MOX and China Accelerator. It brings people together, especially early stage. We meet thousands of companies. We invest in 150 a year, and some of those go on to be. We're the first and only active accelerator in Asia to have a unicorn go through the program. And then come out the other end, and it's a unicorn based on their net income, not on VC valuation. So we're all about the happy hour. And with that in mind, we're going to experiment a little bit here. So we're going to say not goodbye to Roy, Poyan, and Mitesh, but we're going to say hello to an experiment where we have like a little get together after this. So Naman, can you give people instructions on what they're supposed to do if they want to enjoy a cocktail after this? And so, Roy, Mitesh, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Great. Before actually breaking out, I just want to open up to any questions from the panelists or the attendees. Raghav wanted to ask a question from our MOX 9 batch.
Yes. So I have a question that, what sectors do you think are going to be big in next 5 years? Because today we see that, education and fintech, they are hot sectors, but out of personal curiosity, would love to ask where the puck is going to be in next 5 years.
After you, Poyan.
Well, I think this is it's no secret that a lot of smaller and medium companies need to accelerate the digitalization process. They don't have a choice at this moment. They really have to think about that. So then there are a lot of consequences to that, right? So B2B companies, SaaS, or cybersecurity companies, because now they need to think about how to protect their data, definitely may gain more awareness and acceptance in our part of the world. I think the other one that has been talked a lot about is health, right? Telehealth, digital health. But actually, there's also a lot of such companies in the region. So I think at some point there may be consolidation, but now people are starting to accept and wake up to these sectors. I'm quite excited about that.
Great. I think while I will not repeat the usual suspects, which are edutech and health tech and online grocery e-commerce. I think a couple of sectors which I believe really can make it big. A is gaming. I think gaming has a lot of steam left in it. A lot of people are now taking on to gaming, and be it e-commerce or be it casual gaming, I think there is huge scope over there. Personally, I'm very excited about that sector. And second is EV. I think electric vehicle space, including the charging infrastructure space, that's something probably, at least in the context of India, can really come up in a big way. I believe next 5 years are going to be revolutionary in the term of the overall mobility landscape, and EV can really benefit big over there.
Hey, no, I agree with all of that. Actually, I think in addition, at least I am personally quite excited about sort of the general trend in developer tools. Lots of interesting products being built that help developers be more productive, be it in the no-code, low-code side of things, or in better sort of working with data in a better way. So super excited about that. Also think that there have emerged some very nice SaaS product companies in the last 10 years. Especially out of India. I think the next 10 years will see an explosion of those, which are selling globally. We've already seen a bunch of those come out, but I think, the best ones are still to be sort of conceived and started. But I think that would be the other one. I completely believe gaming is also huge, going to get bigger. Very excited about that as well.
Thank you, Roy. I hope that answers the question, Raghav.
Yes.
Perfect. I have another anonymous question from an anonymous attendee. How do you see usage of video beyond entertainment in the next couple of years?
Beyond entertainment, I mean, we are already seeing a lot of folks. I mean, like if you look at, for example, there's a really nice company in the US called Loom Video, which the US team is invested in. But we also have some new stuff coming up. Just feel like videos are much better sort of means of like both education and sort of explanations. And so we see very nice companies doing lots of interesting stuff in video, much more than entertainment, right? Like, for example, we have a company that helps you build video messaging for sales, based on Chennai, has really nice traction. I think education is a big one. I think just product explanations is another big one. Live streaming of sports, entertainment, and all that stuff. Of course, you specifically said not entertainment. But there's a bunch of stuff happening in video. Videos, I think, a pretty nice, big secular sort of trend in many different parts of the ecosystem. And as latency and we are seeing, I saw a really interesting company in the US that's trying to reimagine the internet itself and try to make lots of low latency transmissions possible. And when stuff like that happens, there's going to be a lot more interesting video infra and video technology companies come up as well.
Agree with that. I think maybe if there's anything to add, it would be about collaboration at work.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about just Zoom, but if I am somewhere on a field and I have to repair equipment and I actually don't know how to do it, there are now companies coming out and say, okay, whether it's with a phone or a more fancy AR device, you can literally do the instruction live, right? And I think there are many, many different application and use cases for those. Yeah.
I'd like to add, of course, agree with Pion and Roy. I think a couple of very interesting use cases, again, touch, for example, video-based AI meta tagging, creating ad spots within a video, identifying ad spots and creating, ad monetization opportunities within a video, identifying product and then tagging it to e-commerce backend. I think some of these interesting stuff they are doing, which are some exciting uses of video. A couple of other things which have emerged, some very early stage startups that we have looked at are, providing video resumes, right? So today you have employees sharing their resumes on paper on a Word document. I think video resumes is something where you can gauge his body language and assess him a little better. Likewise, there are apps or applications for video reviews as well, be it for a movie or be it for a web series and all. There are users who will put in video reviews, and again, you can identify the authenticity of that. So these are some of the applications, of course, pretty young yet, but maybe some very good use. And of course, not to forget the Cameo equivalents of the world, where people are having all these celebrity shout-outs through the use of videos, wishing each other birthday wishes and all the other occasions. So that's also kind of caught on. There are almost 25 plus players in that segment now.
Hey, William, would you say video is the new normal?
William is off, I guess. I just saw bye from him on the chat panel.
I mean,
He's there.
I'm in Shanghai, so I get to see humans, but for everybody, yeah. So, what is it? 2 weeks ago, I hit my record. I did 17 hours.
Wow.
In a day on Zoom. Now, the only thing keeping me alive is that I'm walking up and down the hallway while I'm on half of these calls, because I'm like, hey, I'm in China. Zoom doesn't work. I can't turn on my video. I can't show you my face, which is mostly true, but usually I just walk up and down. So I think one of the biggest things that we've seen, COVID was a real boost to digital internet in India, and we've gone hardcore, and we did 40 investments in the last 24 months in consumer internet in India. And then, it's not something that you would wish for. And then a second thing that we would not wish for is the fact that all competition got banned in the market. So now everybody has to use our products. But I'd say yes, video is something that's here to stay. And not just here to stay, but it's like staying and staying and staying. We're talking about an hour a day or more for Indonesia and India, everywhere that's under a lockdown. So yes, I think that habits are changing. I think you're going to see a massive acceleration of that happening. So while the economy is very likely to go to shit, a lot of the people who are tuning into this happy hour will be very, very busy, either trying to solve new problems that are created by the current challenges, or just trying to manage the massive amount of growth that we've seen. I mean, I'll just give you an example. Our last batch, we had our biggest batch ever, 14 companies from mid-March to mid-June, like in COVID to like also during COVID. Our internal goal was to try and help them grow their revenue, from small base, 3x. It did 4.5x on average, and 7 of the 14 companies went profitable. So it's a very tough time. We all need to recognize that it's going to be extremely difficult, but we as investors have a responsibility to fund teams, sometimes tech-driven, sometimes not, that will enable people to get those basic services that they need during this tough time. So usually we're just here to make money. In this case, I think we can actually make a big difference. Food, clothing, shelter, just basic shit. So Naman, I'm going to kick it back to you, because otherwise, it's getting into this happy hour. It's my second glass, and so I should probably stop talking. Thanks, Roy, for asking me the question, though.
Great, thank you, William. As I don't see any more questions, folks, so we're going to wrap up the webinar. However, because we have a lot of interesting folks over here, panelists and attendees, we're going to try something different. Due to the limitations of webinar, we can't really do breakout rooms over here. So in the chat, to all attendees and panelists, I'm sharing a Zoom link, right? The Zoom link is already active. Anybody who wants to network, jump on the Zoom link. In 2 minutes, we're going to do a round of breakout rooms. I think let's get to know each other. Should be fun. Over here, I'm going to give last words to Taipei as well. Jenny, we're just wrapping up the webinar.
Yeah. No. So I just want to say thanks again to Puyan, Mitesh, Roy. Thank you so much. If anybody, are you going to join us in the happy room or the happy hour room? Or are going to, yeah. And so Mitesh has to be in. Roy, are you going to come out of the forest and go into the woods?
No, I'm going to bounce and try to get a drink. I feel like I'm way behind William at this point, and that's just making me jealous. So I'm going to go get some drinks. But thank you all, and good questions, and hopefully some of this was fun. And I know some of you have been like talking to Sequoia and Surge, especially on the side. And if any of you would like to reach out and have a chat, I am very easy to find on the internet.
Yeah. So the rest of us will be in the links. So as Naman said, in the chat, there's a link. Hit the link, and we'll see you on the flip side. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for joining us for drinks. And Puyan, Mitesh, Roy, really appreciate you sharing your time on an extremely busy Friday evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, William. Thanks for having
me. Thank you so much. All right, guys, the other link is live. Why don't we all jump over there and meet on the other side then? I'll keep this live for the next 2 minutes, but the other ones we're going to start in 2 minutes then. All right. Thank you so much, panelists. Pleasure talking to all of you. Cheers.
Yeah, rock and roll. Okay, Naman, you're